In Glore Valley, time doesn't heal wounds, it rips them open. 1 year after her sister's mysterious disappearance, Clover returns, determined to find answers.
I'm looking for my sister. Does she look familiar to you?
She's gone missing.
But here, finding the truth means surviving the night.
We all got murdered, and now we're here again.
So the night is just gonna repeat itself.
Every night, the clock resets. Every death, a new nightmare. Masked hunters, shifting shadows, monsters clawing through the dark.
Every night, something new is trying to kill us.
Trapped in a cycle of terror, Clover and her friends must fight through 13 endless nights or be lost forever. But in a valley cursed by secrets, some things aren't meant to be found.
If we want to survive, we have to make it until dawn.
Until dawn. Death isn't the end. It's only the beginning.
Well, welcome to the Burnt or Buttered podcast.
I'm Toast, and this is
And I'm Stetson, and we are talking about
Until Dawn,
which I had heard absolutely zero about until we were thinking about doing a double header.
Let me tell you, it's not worth it to do a double header when the last movie starts at 10.
It was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, and it was a little bit hard coming out of the movies where the two movies kind of blend together a little bit.
It is tough to keep them separate, especially when they're both in the thriller horror genre.
Mm-hmm. But this was a good one. Well, we'll let you know that as we go. This has a lot of different things about it, which I thought was good.
Yeah, it's at first I thought we were just in for another Groundhog Day killer over and over,
Happy
repeat the
Death
same
Day,
thing,
or like Smile.
Yeah.
Or like,
where you get to learn things each day, and each day you just keep on learning, and you get a little bit better, and you get a little bit better. This is not like that.
Have you heard the theory that Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a version of that Ferris Bueller is stuck in the same day?
I have heard that. It's an interesting thought.
It makes a lot of sense. Could you think of all the crazy things that Ferris Bueller does on Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and all the things that he has to understand and know beforehand? That seems like it's just a coincidence, but someone that's lived the same day over and over and over and over and over again would start to really understand how to make the most out of one day.
That's true. But as we learn in Until Dawn, having only one shot makes things even more important.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big point in this movie. One shot at life, one shot at love, one shot at surviving this night. Except, 13 shots. But
13 shots that seem like one shot.
yeah. It seems like a new shot every single time because there aren't really any rules to this place.
Just survive till dawn.
That's the only rule, is if you survive, you're good. You get to go home. But as far as like the rules or the lore of this Glore Valley, there are some things that follow the same rules, right? Like over these 13 days, the city or the town that fell in a mudslide, I guess, is raised. And so as each night, more buildings come up, more evil dead things come up.
Well, I think like they're just becoming more of the night each night.
They're getting enveloped into the night. Yeah.
Eventually, becoming part of the night.
Yeah.
And so, they get to see everything that's hidden.
Yep.
Yeah.
But other than that part, there really aren't any rules. It's really just whatever your own brain comes up with in response to these things.
Kind of. Because he does tell her staying still is not going to get you through.
Yeah.
And so he gives her clues along the way of, hey, just trying to stay safe in one room is never going to work.
Yeah.
Like you're eventually going to like get caught by the killer. Eventually you're going to kill each other. Eventually you're going to like figure out some way to die.
Tap water isn't safe. Now, if tap water makes you spontaneously explode, nothing is safe in this Glore Valley. But that's the thing that's so weird about it, that I didn't, there are some standards or something to maintain.
Well, and he did say somebody always has to die.
That's what he said. I think that he's making up these rules.
No, I don't think so. I think that he has ran this experiment, over thousands of people probably at this point, and kind of understands that like, oh, this is what it takes to get out, or maybe no one has ever gotten out. I
don't know. There were a lot of things that just didn't really make sense to me as far as the rules of this place.
I didn't get how. So was he just a construct in her mind at the end when he gets blown up, or is he actually there as a real human being, like inside the mind, inside the horrors, or like whatever's going on inside of her mind? Because it does leads you to believe that he's just running experiments on people, and then that's what Glore Valley is. It's just a big experiment on what happens if you don't, like if you are stuck in like a state for a very long time, right? Like that's what the experiment was, is that they never get to sleep, and then because they never get to sleep
or eat
or anything like that, they eventually slowly start turning into like an actual monster that then eats humans.
Right, which they bring in the Wendigo monster, which in folklore and whatnot, it's a big thing out in the Appalachian Mountains. A lot of mines and whatnot would cave in, and miners would be stuck in these mines, and they would develop the ability to see in the dark and everything, and they would end up eating their own friends, to survive. And then just over time, they become this monster that is completely unrecognizable. But yeah, to answer your question, I think that he is a real person, but I think there is some sort of supernatural element that he has, because they showed all of those name badges from all the hospitals he had worked at, and this landslide had happened a long time ago, and he had a name badge from the hospital that collapsed. So he's been around for a long time, I think.
Yeah, but so him in the gas station, was he real, or was he a supernatural like being at that point, kind of leading them down into Glore Valley? Yeah,
I think that was his intention the whole time, and I think he does have some sort of supernatural ability or something, even if it's just to prolong his life.
And like with that too, he comes in at the end of every night to kind of like look over things, sweep everything, kind of like a janitor, kind of making sure everyone's dead type idea. So he's monitoring the experiment the whole time with all these people in it, in his like control room, and that was part of kind of the ending sequence into this movie, is that they have to go face their fears, go through the door that they don't want to go down, into the caves that they don't want to go into, and eventually find his office, which he's like, oh, like you're different than everybody else. This is all because of your mind.
Yeah. It is interesting to consider his origins, I think. Like, where did he come from? Why is he trapped in some sort of Groundhog's Day, where every time that somebody shows up to this place, he has to run an experiment on them?
Yeah, I think he's kind of he's interested in the experiment itself. It's more so like he loves to see where people go when they're afraid, and kind of like almost like a Nazi like doctor experiment guy, where they were just running experiments just to see what would happen.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Aside from that, I mean, it was a pretty fun ride. Like it was entertaining enough that I didn't feel bored. And the Groundhog's Day, murder thing, it was different enough that I felt like it had some value on its own.
I thought they did a good job. I mean, it was funny that they called out
the
Groundhog's Day movie inside.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that.
And they're like, oh, so this isn't like those other movies, where something changes. It's not the same every single night, which makes a lot of sense because this was completely geared around fear. And eventually, if you know that you're going to die and you know how you're going to die every single night, you probably would become desensitized to the way that you die every single night. You would think, I mean, it would suck every night, but eventually you would just kind of accept it.
You would think, but at the very beginning, her sister, that's the thing that she says after she climbs out of the cave is, just kill me. I can't die one more time. Like, just end it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that would be the way because they're getting killed different every single time.
Right.
And
if it was the same way, like you're saying, then it would be easier.
Yeah, because you would know what to expect every time. Like, there wouldn't be that layer of surprise. Like, you would just...
There is like a level of hopelessness to not knowing what you're going to encounter out there.
Because you don't know how to fight it. And you're just like, if it's different every single time and it's a different person and a different set of skills and a different type of way that they like to kill or mind games that they like to play, how do I get ahead of this?
Or straight up a witch. Like, there's magic in this world.
Yeah.
There's magic. There's Wendigos. You don't know what else is out there. Anything could happen. And there's no way to prepare for it.
Yeah, I thought that there was a lot of fun moments inside this movie that I wasn't expecting. Like, I did like the friend, I think her name's Megan, and her character's name's Megan, that she's the spiritual one.
Oh, yeah.
And she ends up, like using her like supernatural ability like in different ways. And you're just like, oh, that was kind of fun. And the dynamics between the friends are interesting. I didn't really connect with the idea of we all have to make it out. I just feel like if anyone makes it out, it's a win in my eyes. If I was like part of this like friend group, and so all of them just like as soon as a certain amount of people die, they're just like, all right, let's just all die, so then we can try again as a group.
Yeah, and sticking together was a big part for these guys, which in most horror films, that's the first thing that happens is everybody splits up and gets killed, So it's interesting because they did keep on splitting up and they did keep getting killed. And then finally, when they decide to stick together.
Well, and the only way that they really got out was they did split.
They did.
They had to split, at the end, and you thought, okay, one is going to make it, one isn't going to make it. And they split up because they were trying to save the one, trying to save Megan because they thought Megan was already gone. But she's ended up just in a room tied up, about to be eaten by that thing.
Yeah.
But all throughout the whole thing, there was enough surprises and enough differences where I was like, yeah, this is entertaining. This is good.
And they did the jump scares really well. There were a few that actually really got me. And it wasn't just because something jumped out at you when you weren't expecting it. It was almost like you were expecting it and you were waiting for it. And then right when you gave up waiting for it, that's when it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. All the deaths were actually pretty good. Sometimes I get tired of that. We've been seeing a lot of freaking horror movies this year. And a lot of times it just gets exhausting, the death and or just like blood and gore and or whatever it might be. But this one, it seemed like it was fresh enough every single time. It was different enough every single time where it didn't get super boring. I did think that like the transition from like it was day 2 or day 3 to day 13 was a little bit rough.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty quick.
Like it needed to happen.
It did, because it would have been so like exhausting and boring and such a long movie if they showed all 13 days,
I wish that they would have done it just in the montage stage earlier. So, I mean, how they did it was kind of interesting, where they all forgot what day it was, and then they go back, and then we get to see like snippets of one or two parts of the days. You know, I wish that they would have just kind of montaged us through.
I kind of liked that they didn't show us everything. They just implied or let us know that there had been multiple others, because then it kind of puts you in the same situation as them, not really knowing and having to piece things together from his little phone and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that was a fun way to do the montage. Was that he had been recording like certain parts of it every day that they had gone through.
Which at the very beginning, that dude, I was like, why is he so obsessed with taking videos on his phone? These are not going to be good videos. You're never going to come back and look at these. He proved me wrong.
Yeah. I do think that kind of the payoff at the end of the movie wasn't as good as I wished it was. Kind of them surviving, getting out, walking out, getting into their car, kind of driving away. It didn't feel as rewarding as I felt like it would, them getting out. It kind of just felt a little bit, I don't know, sometimes with movies it just feels a little too easy.
Yeah, I think, and not to say that you're wrong at all, like I agree, it did feel a little bit too easy, and not too easy because they did go through a lot, but it just felt too abrupt, you know? But I think in reality, that's kind of how things would go. Like you get out of this, and then what do? Do you go tell people about it? They're going to think you're crazy. Nobody's going to believe that you got murdered 13 times.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I felt like it was a fun movie. It's not perfect, obviously, but it was a fun ride.
And there's something more to this movie that we don't know, right? Like there's a video game, or there's something.
So there is a
attached to
video
it.
game. I was talking, and I've read a few articles about it now. I was talking to the concessions guy at the movie theater, and he was telling me that it's a problem-solving based game. So the thing that's really interesting about this is it's one of the only types of games that you don't get retries. You don't get to examine it, make a mistake, and then come back to your save point. You have to run it all the way through one time. And so to make this a Groundhog's Day type movie based on a game that you literally cannot try again felt a little bit weird, and a lot of the fans of the game are not fans of the movie.
Well, I think it would be a fun game where you would never experience the same thing twice again. Like if you did die, like this version, the movie version of it seems like it would be a fun game as well.
It could be, yeah.
Like each time, and maybe
But it's
you have
not
like
the
a
same game.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, you have like a certain amount of times, and then you just and then the game just ends, and you can't play it anymore.
Right.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
Make it happen, Sony or whoever is part of this. Not Sony, because I don't play PlayStation. Microsoft.
Well, that's the only thing that I play, so.
What a loser.
Yeah, not a great video game adaptation, but what movie has been, you know?
Yeah. There hasn't really been one that's knocked it out of the park yet.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
What was the movie? Man, with Jake Gyllenhaal. What?
Like the one where he's in a capsule thing and
Prince of Persia.
Oh, Prince of Persia. Oh boy. You
Prince
think
of
that
Per-
was a good?
I think it was
not
okay.
a good adaptation.
It
though.
was okay.
Not a good adaptation.
It was an okay adaptation.
It could have been an okay movie, but it's not a good adaptation of the game.
It was an okay adaptation.
Eh.
It was out of all the video game adaptations, it's up there.
It's a low bar, but I'll let you get away with it.
All right, let's get into the final. Pop, what do you think about this one?
So, final pop on this one. It was a fun ride. There were a lot of good moments, a lot of good things about it. The jump scares were actually very entertaining. There wasn't really anything like groundbreaking, nothing that got me like super excited about talking about this movie. It's not one that I'm going to tell all my friends and family about. Like Sinners, you know, I told my my friends and family all about that at Easter dinner, you know. But this one, it's kind of just right down the middle, 2.5 for me.
2.5, nice. I disagree with you on a few things about this movie. I think that this movie, for me, was a cut above in the horror like side of things. I thought it was, for me, that I don't love horror films. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was new. I thought it was fresh. I thought the dynamics of the friends were interesting. I thought it wasn't something that I was like, okay, I know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I like the journey. There was a lot of shots inside the film that I really enjoyed too.
There were some good shots
that were super interesting and dynamic. The first 30 seconds of this film of her clawing out of the ground was really, really engaging. And so I feel like if someone was, hey, I want to watch a movie on Halloween, what movie should I watch? I would recommend this to them.
Yeah.
Or if they were like looking for a horror film to watch, I would recommend this one to them. So I'm gonna give this a 3.88. I'm gonna give it a 3.88. I thought it's a different type of film of Sinners, but I thought it was just as enjoyable as Sinners.
Really?
To me.
Wow, that is very surprising to me, but to each their own.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think. And let us know if we're wrong. Because one of us, probably Toast, is wrong.
The guy who's saying Until Dawn is as good as Sinners is the one who thinks he's right.
They're different types of movies.
Vastly, yeah. One's like really good and the other one's average.
You can't judge them on the same scale. They're not